Hi, and welcome to Personal Playback, where we talk about things that matter to people who matter. My name is Sterling, and welcome to episode 3. We have a very special guest here. Fernando, tell us who you are.
Hey Sterling, thanks for having me. My name is Fernando, and I'm a musician in the Toledo area currently, but by day I work in a finance team for an IT sales company.
Cool. I'm sure everyone's clamoring at the bit to find out how we met. So what was it? We met in a band, right? It was not a paid gig, but I remember there was one day when we were in this group and we weren't practicing, and I think you started playing something, and then I started playing with you, and we just kind of made eye contact, and it was just a sort of moment of like, hey, wait a minute, this guy knows what's going on. And this guy can really play. And I remember after that, I think I reached out first, and I was just like, hey, I respect you as a person. Let's let's hang out or something like that. You can let me know if there are any other details that you remember.
Yeah, I definitely remember that. That tends to be how I build relationships with other musicians. Yeah. Is typically just we fall in line with the kind of music that we play or listen to, whether it's actually spoken or just played in the moment, and then we tend to follow up after. I do also remember talking to you about the book you're writing,
right? And
just generally, it almost started to become a conversation about philosophy a little bit and just other things. And it became clear to me that we had probably more in common, or at least more to talk about than just music every now and then.
Yeah. Any future plans that you have with music and stuff, or kind of chilling out for the time being?
No concrete plans right now. I would love to actually step back a little bit. I feel like I've had a lot on my plate recently. But I'm always interested. I love playing music. I love listening. And just want to work on having more concrete things to share with people.
All right, well, today we're here to talk about a song by Green Day. Fernando, what is this song called?
Yeah, so the song is called Good Riddance, parentheses, Time of Your Life, and it is by the band Green Day.
Could you give us a spoiler-free review of the song that you picked?
It's a ballad of sorts. It's just one voice playing acoustic guitar, and that's the majority of the song. Some cellos come in towards the end, but it's very simple, straightforward song.
So for our audience, feel free to listen to it before or after this episode and consider your own perspective. So, Fernando, where did you first hear this song, and what was happening in your life at the time?
Yeah, so I distinctly remember this, and it's interesting to me because I wasn't listening to music as much at that time. I think the first time I heard it and recognized it as that song was in 5th grade. I was actually graduating, and my teacher played it at our graduation. We were in the same class from 3rd grade to 5th grade because of the special program that I was in. And so we had the same teacher for those 3 years. So the class became really close. We were close with each other. We were close with the teacher. And so it really became a moment for me, the fact that he played that song. And like I said, at the time I didn't know it. I didn't really listen to a ton of music, but Green Day was one of the few bands that I had heard of and I kind of knew. And it was an own discovery. Everything else was, stuff I was listening to because my parents played it. So it became it was a moment that I now recognize. At the time, I think I just thought, oh, that's kind of a cool song. But it became a moment over time, and it's come back in a few different times. But that was the first time. It was graduation, 5th grade, and my teacher, he actually sang it. He played guitar and he sang it. He didn't play he didn't play the recording. He actually did it himself. So, yeah. And then it came back a couple more times in life, kind of in that sort of fashion. But that was the first moment.
That even just thinking about the lyrics and stuff sounds like a really cool moment.
Yes. Yeah. Lyrically, it made a lot of sense. Hearing the just the words, "I hope you had the time of your life."
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really what he was trying to get at. That's the reason why I think he picked it, why it was a thing. And again, we were close. We were close as a class. We were close with our teacher, I don't think I got emotional at the time. Again, this is very young me,
Mm-hmm.
but looking back as an adult and trying to just when I think about that moment now, it feels a lot more emotional today. Yeah,
that makes sense. It's really cool to have having really good male teachers isn't super common in general, but also it's really cool to have a genuine moment like that where you can just see that the teacher really has your best interest at heart. Again, it is kind of looking at the lyrics, and it's not just this was the time of your life, like a fun, like poppy club song or something like that, but like, I really hope that you enjoyed this time that we had, and you spent a lot of time together too. So that is really cool. So what are, if any, some musical parts that stand out to you in this song?
Yeah, musically, there's a few moments. When I play it in my head, the first moment that comes to mind is just the fact that the very beginning of it almost sounds like he messed up in recording the guitar.
Right, yeah.
Because he plays it a couple of times.
Yeah.
But it becomes a part of the song, and when it's notated, people notate that as though it was written that way. And
that's funny.
I don't know if it was. Maybe it was, but it feels like a mistake that became a happy accident. So that was the first thing. It feels very genuine, and I think that's the point. It's trying to build a very coffee shop vibe or very intimate setting where, the artist is playing the song right to you. Again, pretty simple, one voice, one guitar, and then some cellos at the end. And those cellos just bring emotion.
Mm-hmm.
Cellos are always emotion in my head. And they add a little something extra to the song. So I think, musically it's relatively simple, but it's very pleasing. Everything's in the right spot. And it's enjoyable to listen to. You can actually listen to the lyrics if you'd like. It's also just pleasant. And it's just a good song.
It's something I think about often when it comes to what makes music human. Like when you listen to a song and someone uses auto-tune and you can tell that they used auto-tune, you know that something's wrong even when they're hitting the right notes, But something that I think makes music human, whether you're talking about voice or as you said, like hearing them make that mistake in the beginning. I think that something that makes music human is mistakes. Like when you can hear, for example, if you have a really emotional part of a song and you hear someone's voice like break, when it's like they're crying out or something like that,
right,
and you hear their voice crack, then it's like, dang, that's a really intense moment. And it's technically a mistake, where they couldn't hold it because they got so emotional.
Right.
But that's one of the things that makes it more human. And for this song, I really like that. There is that genuine moment up front where it's like, yeah, it's not perfect, but who cares?
Yeah.
That's not what this is about. It's about, as again, we've already talked about, and we'll probably continue to talk about, it's about this earnestness from the artist and from whoever's playing the song, I guess, of just like, I hope for you that you had a really good time. So mistakes, I think, are really key in music. Personally, I have a lot of opinions about music, and I think that's one of the things that just makes it human.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, it definitely adds to it makes it feel very genuine, and like you said, it even when it's not the artist, it carries. It kind of allows anyone to take on that song, to borrow it even, and use it for whatever moment feels right to them and to their audience. So I think that's a mark of a good song is it almost doesn't matter who plays it. It's still a good song and enjoyable and carries the original meaning. It can carry a new meaning, but overall it's just it's very relatable.
Yeah. What are we talked about the music, so what are some lyrical parts that stand out to you? I know we already referenced the end, the chorus.
Yeah, so I mean, generally, I have to admit, I don't focus on lyrics too much with music, and I should have listened to it on the way over here to get a little bit of a refresher.
Yeah.
Definitely, the time of your life is a key moment of it. The fact that the song is called Good Riddance, though, alludes to the fact that, it's not actually a very, it's not a happy song necessarily. People say that it's a breakup song, actually. I don't know whether it is, and that's neither here nor there, but to me, I choose to listen to it in a more, in just a more happy mood. I think it's more uplifting than it should be. Yeah, it's more uplifting than it probably should be based on what the actual intended lyrics were. But I like to think that it's actually more of a bittersweet song. I think it's looking ahead, looking to a better future, and I choose to think of it as a genuine wish that, I hope you had the time of your life. I hope you look fondly at these memories.
Yeah, I really like that. I think that Jason might have said it, but also I've probably heard it somewhere else. So just art is meant to be interpreted, that you can take it at face value, but then it's just sounds, at the end of the day, if you take it at face value. So I like the idea that one of the other parts in the song says it's still in the chorus, but it's something unpredictable. And I think it's, and in the end is right, I think is the next line. I hope you had the time of your life. And I also really like the idea that it's not just a breakup song. Very well could be. I say early on in the podcast, I am horrible at doing research of like who the artist is and what their life was like, and even who's in the band most of the time. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm really bad at that. But in addition, sometimes I'll find out what the song means, but most of the time I do not. But I do really like the idea of putting it in that context of, even with the Good Riddance, it's like you have to move on. You can't stay in the same place. Whether that is a breakup or it's, you can't stay in fifth grade forever. Like, it's go. What are you doing here? Go.
Yeah. And I think that's part of why I interpret it that way, is because that was my introduction to it. It would be very weird for me to interpret it as a breakup song. If I think of my...
People be asking a lot of questions.
Adult teacher singing this to a bunch of 10-year-olds, but to me it's a happy goodbye. To me, it's always been a happy goodbye. It's always been a genuine, I'm going to treasure these memories. I hope you do too. Someone might call me naive for it or wishful thinking, but I choose to think of it that way. And I do think in part that it's because of my introduction to the song and how I first heard it.
So you said that the way that you feel when you listen to the song now has changed since you heard it the first time. What are some of those instances that you think about the song, or this song kind of pops up in your head?
Yeah, well, it's just, I feel as though it's come up a couple other times in my life, and you could say that one of them was fabricated, like I did it to myself, and for my own reasons.
Okay.
The first other one that I can think of is just the fact that when I met my fiance, one of the first things that we bonded over was our love of music, and her favorite band is Green Day. And we were also bonded over the fact that we played guitar. And that is one of the few guitar songs where she can always play it. She never forgets it. Anytime, and it's also become a thing where anytime she picks up a guitar, it's the song that she will go and play as like to test the guitar. And honestly, it's also one of the songs that I go to on an acoustic guitar specifically. It's like a comfort guitar riff to play, or it's a chord progression that I always remember. It's just a very comfortable song. If I were at a bar, open mic, or whatever, and someone asked to play that, I know 100% I will nail it.
Yeah.
Every single time.
And everybody will know it, pretty much.
And everyone will know it, yeah. And so the fact that it was one of the first moments that I had with my fiance, obviously that becomes something that you're going to remember forever. It still comes up between us, and sometimes there's other people there, and it's like, oh, what song are you going to play? And I just know what song she's going to play.
Yeah.
So that's certainly one of them. So again, it's a happy memory for me. So it'd be really hard for me to look at that as a breakup song.
Yeah.
After having that experience.
Mm.
And then maybe the third time that it's come up, and this one's the one where, it's basically, I did it to myself, was I was playing an acoustic set at a brewery with a friend. She was singing, I was playing guitar. It was a 3-hour set. So we did some originals, some covers, and to take a break and to allow her to take a vocal break, I just kind of played some acoustic guitar on its own, was playing a couple of well-known songs, I would say. And that was one of them, again, because of the fact that I'm so comfortable with it. I know it like the back of my hand, and it also means a lot to me. So I played it, I introduced it as, this is a song that means a lot to me, and I love to play it, and I did, and people enjoyed it, and it kind of felt, again, looking back a little bit now, I think of it as, I think I wanted to do that because that's how it was introduced to me, was just playing it in a celebratory setting. I mean, obviously this was just a random brewery gig, right. But it was in front of a lot of our friends. So it was a little bit of a celebration. It was the fact that we were getting out there. It was one of my first kind of quote unquote real gigs too. So it carried a little bit more weight, at least for me. I don't, it doesn't matter if it meant anything to anyone else, but certainly for me, it became a moment that I still remember. It still comes up in my head, and again, I really do. It's just one of those songs that I'm never going to forget. When you first asked me to come onto this podcast and do this, that was the first song that came to mind. It was the only song that came to mind for a little bit. I was trying to think of something else, and I was like, well, I don't have that kind of like story or emotional connection to anything else quite like I do in this level.
Yeah, I feel the exact same with the song that I picked, Deathbed, which, if you haven't listened to that episode, you can go ahead and check that out. But there are a lot of songs that I like. There are a lot of songs that I would love to play. Honestly, I would hate playing Deathbed. It's 11 minutes long. I don't want to remember all that stuff. But, well, maybe it would be fine. If I had music in front of me, it would be fine. Less of an endeavor, I think. But it was my first one. It was the first song that I was like, yo, this is amazing. Who wrote this? Like, it was awesome and impacted me a lot over the years, and really informed a lot of my musical, preferences, even today. I think about it sometimes. So it's really cool just that it wasn't even a debate. I was just like, nope, Green Day, that's it.
Yeah, it absolutely was. And honestly, if the prompt were just what's an artist that did that for you, it would also probably be Green Day. And it would be a pretty similar story. I mean, I think the only thing I might change would be the fact that the only reason I knew about Green Day at the same time that I heard that song was because of taking guitar lessons. And it was at the same school. Our guitar teacher brought an electric guitar in once, and some of the kids were just asking about, like, oh, can you play this? Can you play this? And it was, around the time American Idiot had come out. So they were like, oh, can you play American Idiot? And he was like, yeah. And so he played it. And that was the first time I heard electric guitar in person, a few feet away from me, and saw it. And I think that's what made me really enjoy electric guitar. Before that, I was just playing acoustic, but that moment was, I still remember it. And then, they said, oh, that's Green Day. And I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna remember that.
Well, I guess I like Green Day now.
Yeah. So yeah, I think a little bit, like you said, it definitely informed my tastes for a long time. I've ventured out a lot more now, and I'm into a lot of different things. But that's definitely the moment that, I mean, I liked music before, but again, it was a lot of my parents' taste, and I still love it, and it's still amazing and everything. But that was the first time that it felt like, this is my taste now, and I get to shape it, and that was the first step.
That's a good segue into our next question, which is this similar or different to what you listen to now?
Yeah, I mean, both. I still love to listen to a lot of pop punk or just generally alternative or rock music, whatever you want to call it. When people ask me for my favorite genre, it depends on who asks me and what I'm feeling that day, but if I really try to be as honest as possible, it's always going to be rock. It's always going to be that kind of genre. But no, I've definitely tried to listen to more things since then. The next soft transition was obviously metal, and then as I was trying to build my taste. If I think about it chronologically, I was more into rock, metal, indie music, and stuff like that, and had a big dubstep phase and electronic music. I say phase, but it comes back all the time, so I don't think I ever grew out of it, and I don't want to. I think sometimes dubstep gets a bit of a bad rap, but
yeah.
But I genuinely enjoy it as much as I would other genres. And I started listening to hip hop and rap and jazz, and I think everything leads you into one more thing, and then that leads you into a couple more things, and so it just kind of spider webs out. So even genres that I used to not enjoy, I used to say, "Oh, I listen to everything but opera." And I don't know. I thought maybe I was just a quirky high schooler, but genuinely, I go to opera showings now, and so my taste has diversified quite a bit. I think I'm just always hunting for something new, scratch a new itch, or just to listen to something that doesn't sound like something I've heard before.
Yeah.
But that's not to say I don't listen to Green Day. I will still put on Green Day.
Still has a seat at the table.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I think something that I also think about when I think about my favorite types of music, there's a very distinct difference between the music that I like the most and the music that I would love to play the most. Like my favorite artist that definitely surprised you is Haylaker. At least right now, I'd say my favorite artist is Haylaker. They don't have my favorite song in the world, but I'd say as a whole, they have some of my favorite music. But most of their music doesn't have drums. I'd say at least like half of their albums don't have drums. So like obviously I'm a drummer, so I wouldn't just be sitting in the corner. Well, honestly, that would be kind of fun to be sitting at one of their concerts. But I wouldn't just be sitting there like, yay, this is fun listening. Although I say that again with an asterisk because I love the music. But if I were to actually be involved in a project, it'd probably be more metal, rock, jazz, something along those lines. But would you say that you would like to play more Green Day now as, adult Fernando, or would you say that you do tend to diversify a lot more than that kind of genre?
To play it myself, I think it's if you had asked me that just a few years ago, I would probably say, yeah, I wanted to join a punk band or do more of a pop punk type thing. More recently, I maybe feel a little bit like I've been there, done that, and I've been looking for different things to play myself, and just generally when I default to playing, when I get to just play for my own enjoyment, I tend to either do some poor funk thing or just play very freely, just play a chord that I think sounds very pleasing, and then try to find the next one that's going to scratch that itch. And so just building chord progressions that ultimately lead nowhere, but just feel and sound nice. If I'm just playing it for myself, it doesn't feel like I have no audience. I have no ones that I need to entertain but myself. So I find myself doing more of that. But in a band context, I could see myself. I could see myself maybe doing it as maybe a side project or something like that. But I don't know if I could do it as a main project anymore. Well, I don't want to say that either. It would really depend on the band, on everyone else. If it was with the right group of people, it could be very, very fun. And I think deep down, maybe I do. It would be nice to go back to my roots in that sense. But I also love playing new things. Something that maybe I'm not comfortable with, but everyone else is really fun to do, because then you have to catch up a little bit. You got to start listening to what they're listening to, and then understand how that music works.
Yeah, I liked one of the things that you said about the chords and finding the one that leads into the next one, instead of just, what's my roadmap or whatever. It reminds me of something that I do. I call it Hermit Days. I think we've probably talked about it, but it's where I tell my wife, hey, today I'm going to do something and I don't know what it is. Basically, whether it's after work or I pick a weekend, and I just think of stuff to do, and as I think of it, I'm like, I'm going to go do that. And then I just go and do it. And it's just my day to not plan anything, but just to freely exercise my autonomy,
Execute
just,
on free will.
Yeah. Just spread my wings and fly.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it's one of those things for me personally that I super need, and it feels almost in the same kind of ilk, where it's just, the point sometimes is to not have a plan. The point is just to do what feels good, and that's not to go commit a murder, but just when it comes to self-expression, like sometimes the point is just to do what feels good. And so that's just one of the ways that I guess I relate to that really strongly, is just sometimes I just got to go do stuff and not know what I'm going to do beforehand.
Yeah. I would almost feel bad saying it, but I feel like I have more exciting moments when I'm just playing guitar on my own and allowing myself to experiment than, if I'm at a band practice or a rehearsal, or even if it's a brand new band, we're all improvising. Sometimes that can feel more like a job or a chore. And, when you're just playing on your own, it's not. Yeah. I mean, unless you make it a chore for yourself. But in my case, I do that to get away from other things. So it's completely experimenting for the sake of experimenting, for the sake of my own entertainment, for the sake of not having to do something else. So it's really, really exciting when you get, even if it's just two chords that flow really nicely into each other, and I can play it well. That's enough to be like, well, that was worth it. That was worth my 5 minutes. That was worth my 2 hours. That was worth my 30 seconds. Whatever it is, it creates a moment, and I'm happy I did it.
Yeah. It's, you were talking about playing with other people and how sometimes it can be really taxing. One of the things that I've learned, especially as a drummer, is that it's a skill and a learned skill to be able to play and listen at the same time. And in addition to that, like, it's always a battle. So it's almost like if you have a x-axis and y-axis, the up and down, what is that? That's y. Is the for yourself versus for other people, where you can make music all for yourself, but then everyone else is going to hate it and they're not going to be able to relate to it, But then also you can make music for just other people, and then you're going to hate it and you're not going to be able to relate to it because it's not yours, But then also there's like the x-axis being you improvising, like playing, and then on the other end is you reacting to things that are happening, almost the free jazz sort of area. Not everybody can play and concentrate on what they're doing and listen to the things that other people are doing at the same time and go, oh, well, what I'm doing complements that, or what I'm doing doesn't complement that, so let me change. what I'm doing. Or let me just stay here so that they can build off of their idea while I'm doing this steady thing. Not everybody can sort of even engage in that sort of balancing act. And so sometimes I super feel you because it'll be both, where sometimes I'm like, all right, I'm going to do this thing, and then they're going to have a whole bunch of ideas, and they're going to feed me ideas, and I'm going to build off of that. And at this last jam session that we were at, I remember I was trying to do that, and I was like, yo, they're not giving me anything. We've just been playing 1-4-5s for like 3 minutes, and like I'm the only one that's changing. One of the guys was high, I think, too. So it was.
Yeah, that didn't help.
Yeah, but so sometimes it's the playing and listening, but then also sometimes it's some people are just in their own heads and only making music for themselves.
Mm.
And that other balancing act. So it's two teeter-totters kind of at the same time. That's hard to navigate, but everybody's at a different point on that sort of graph, I think. So definitely makes it hard if you're not even, in the same quadrant. Yes, I remember that word. Oh, man.
You were just talking to me. Yeah. No, I agree. And, I mean, improvisation's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
It's incredibly hard to teach. Sometimes there's sometimes where I think it just comes to you or it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
But I hate to think that way because I try to think that everything can be taught.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's just very difficult to teach, I feel.
Yeah.
And part of the reason why I said I almost feel bad saying the most exciting moments I have are just like playing guitar on my own as opposed to with other people is because there are moments where you play with other people and they are very exciting. Yeah. It's really exciting when everybody hits a note at the same time and then stops and there's like a rest or there's a moment like that. That can be extremely exciting, extremely rewarding, especially when it's on stage, in front of an audience. But I think it kind of goes back to the fact that that's making music for the entertainment of others. Mm-hmm. And so if you have those moments in front of others, that's very exciting. When you're doing it for your own entertainment, then it's equally rewarding. Mm-hmm. The reward is having that moment for yourself instead of for other people.
Yeah.
But it's the same point. You're just trying to get to a point where things are interesting for your audience, whether that be people, other people,
or an audience of one. Yeah. Cool. Well, one more question for you, Fernando. What would you tell someone listening for the first time to this song if you wanted to brace them for this experience?
In an ideal world, I would like to say, don't listen to it on purpose. Have it show up in your life somehow. Obviously, that's a horrible way of telling someone to listen to a song. But I think that's why I love it so much. It captured a moment in my life. And so that's why I remember it so well. That said, if you just want to listen to it and see what the hype is about, if there's a reason why it connected with me, I would just listen to it in a bit of a neutral mindset or emotional. I guess you can be either extremely happy or extremely sad. It'll touch you in different ways.
I was thinking maybe a transitory period of something changing, whether that it could be a breakup, I guess, or if it's, you graduated college or you moved out of your parents' house or you something like that.
Yeah, I guess depending on how much you want to feel the song is going to be dictated by how you're feeling in that moment and what's going on in your life. Yeah, that's a great way to put it, because that's exactly why I felt it. There was a big change in my life happening multiple times, I guess you could say, and those are the moments that stay with me forever, and that song is kind of the backing track to that moment.
Nice. Well, we can call it there. This has been Personal Playback, where we talk about things that matter to people who matter. And remember, you matter too. Thank you very much, Fernando.
Thanks, Sterling. Thank you for having me.
And I'll see you later.